Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Howie. Oh, we have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. As Timmy just said, we're going to start the funeral portion of the show. This is going to be the last time we talk about the Boston Bruins.
Could we call it an
year.
Irish wake? Could we call it an Irish wake instead of a funeral?
Those are much more fun. I almost started drinking again.
Yeah. Oh, don't say that, Timmy. Please. Come on, man.
Don't do that. No.
Then I put the VCR tape in the last 100 times I drank, and I saw what happened. I said, skip that.
Yeah, let's not do that. Look, this was a magical regular season. The regular seasons in NHL are just boring. They're too long. They go on forever. It's all about the playoffs. The Bruins knew that. John Sweeney and Cam Neely went for it. They mortgaged the future to make this happen, and this team choked. Simply enough, we always start with Russ. Simply enough, this team choked to the team with the worst record in the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess you say it's a choke. I just sort of say it's just such a massive disappointment, that play it out over 7 games. I mean, we were up 3-1. This thing was in the bag. How many teams come back from 3-1 down, right? And I don't think we played great in those 3 wins, but we certainly deserved it. And then they just imploded, from game to game. Now, by the way, let's remember one of those games that I thought they dominated completely, and they lost that fluky game late, and you just knew. Was it game 5, Tim, or game 6? I can't remember. We just dominated the game. I think it was game 5, and you had a feeling after that game like, oof, could this be?
Well, look, Timmy, they were up by 1 goal with 57 seconds left to win it, and they couldn't clear the freaking puck.
They were. The vibe was there. You could feel the vibe. My buddy left before overtime. He knew. But, think of this. That last shot hits off the tip of Charlie Coyle's stick and misses the goalie's pad by 1 inch. Hockey is such a bizarre sport, Mm-hmm. Like Russell said, we absolutely dominated that game, a few games ago. Dominated the game. But how many times have I seen it in hockey where you can go down and you can hit the post 3 times and have the puck down the other end for 7 straight minutes, and they come down and they get one shot and it goes in, and it just crushes you. I almost got worried when the Bruins were dominating too much and not scoring. If you dominate like that and you don't score, inevitably they come down and they get a softie. I'm not going to use the word choke either. I think, and I might sound like a crybaby here, I think the NHL should switch to like the NFL format. There has to be some type of reward for having a season like the Bruins had. I believe there should be a first-round bye. Because we got nothing. We get to play. We go out there on equal footing with the team that scratched their way in at the last second into the playoffs. And we go in with equal footing, We should have had time to rest. There should be, I know I'm crying over spilled. There should, in my estimation, the 4 teams should get a bye in that league or something like that. There should be some type of reward for having a season like this. I'm not going to
get a reward, Tim. They got home ice advantage.
I know.
They got to play the worst team. They had the best record, so they got to.
But Joe, don't you like the way the NFL gives a bye to the people that finish like at the top?
But only 1 team now.
No, yeah, they're getting rid of their bye.
Oh, that's foolish. That's only so they can make more money. You know what I mean?
They're the only
sport
that has a bye now.
More games, more money.
Which is the NHL.
Don't you feel there should have been some type? I mean, other than they went in. How many times have we seen it?
Timmy, they lost 3 home games.
I know they did.
3 out of 4 home games.
I thought that they, other than the last game where I just think the vibe was gone. Hockey's a crazy sport. It's a crazy sport. We saw the 71 Bruins lose to the Canadians. I mean, I'm aging myself here. The Bruins absolutely dominated the Canadians in that series, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And Ken Dryden, a goalie, won that series. A goalie. I mean,
But they didn't dominate this series. The Panthers,
Huh.
even Montgomery said, were the better team overall.
Yeah,
Mhm.
their forecheck just absolutely emasculated the Bruins. The Bruins couldn't get out of their own end.
Yeah.
Other than Charlie and Carlo, the defense was wretched. They just couldn't. Orloff, Clifton, Forbert, none. They just kept giving the
Lindholm,
puck up.
Lindholm was a no-show.
Yeah, well, Lindholm
Yeah.
was a no-show. He didn't make the egregious mistakes the others made, though. But he was a no-show. I'll give you that.
I thought Marchand, I thought he played terrible in game
Yeah.
7. I just thought he was horrendous. I don't know even knew who was passing to most of the time.
I think
Just to go back to Timmy's point, you leave yourself exposed for bad luck, right? You don't take care of a series, and the shot the Bruins took that went off the goalie's stick, right?
Yeah.
Not even his
The
blocker,
shaft,
nothing,
yeah.
not even the thick part of the stick. That last goal in overtime. That last goal in regulation with a minute to go was lucky. I mean, McAvoy blocked that shot, bounces right back to the guy, like literally puts like an assist
Like
on
a
his
pass.
stick,
Yeah.
right? Like a
Yes.
pass,
Yes,
right?
this
So
is-
you put yourself in a position to lose lucky bounces, and that's what this team did because they underperformed. They just did.
Absolutely. And the whole Bergeron decision, he had a herniated disc. We were up 3-1. Then they put him in the
Yeah.
lineup, and they lose the next 3 games.
And
I gotta
Krejci
tell you,
was wretched.
Everything that Monty did, that turned to gold during the year, turned to poop in the playoffs. I mean, that guy didn't make a good decision.
My one big thing with Monty is he alternated goalies all year, and it worked spectacularly. Right?
Totally.
I mean,
Yep.
I think that these goalies work best on a day's
Yep.
rest. I mean, that was proven because
Totally,
Halak was
Timmy.
as good as you can see a goaltender play this year. And obviously that's because he was getting a day's rest. And I don't know why he went away from the formula that was so massively successful for him all year.
Especially when you're up 3-1. When you can put Swayman in, and you could always go
Of
back.
course.
Yeah.
To game 6
The-
and
Oh,
7.
the
thing to
fans would have
do-
killed him if he went away from Almack when they were up 3-1.
Oh no, I don't
No,
think
wanna
so.
close-
I actually
close
don't
eye,
think so,
no
Joe.
way.
I mean, I think you're up 3-1. Fans love Swayman. You're at home. You put Swayman into that game.
Absolutely.
You do. Was no reason not to.
I think it screwed Halak up. I think he was in a rhythm of one on, one off. And he wasn't. You need a goalie to stand on your head in the playoffs and make saves that you can't really believe that they made, and that didn't happen.
You could have
Nope.
saved game 6 if you had taken him out after goal 4. When he was clearly
Yes,
running
that
around.
was when I would have put Swayman in. Swayman would have got some reps. He would have been ready for game 7.
Yeah, but they
Instead
could
of-
have won the game, Joe.
They
were
might have
up
won that game.
5-4.
Yeah. They he screwing around with his lines, taking, not starting the series with Grizzlick, Clifton was a complete disaster,
Yes.
but really just like way too much tinkering with the lines. Way too much.
Now, what do you guys?
Not necessary.
You put any credence in the rumor that Omar was hurt?
I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah. He looked like he was hurt.
He didn't look like himself.
No,
And that makes it even more egregious.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're going to throw a goaltender, to Tim's point, you rotated during the year, who's probably now wearing down, and he's got an injury, and you're going to throw him out instead of a healthy guy who was probably a top 5 goaltender in the NHL this year?
Was
Swayman?
Monty too much of was he more of a cheerleader than a coach?
that was a great coach, Scotty.
Yeah.
He fucking took him to the greatest record in the NHL history.
Exactly.
I'm just going to say this might. Did they lose? And am I disappointed? Yes. Am I mad at this team? I am not. They gave me a ton of enjoyment this year.
Fun team.
I'm telling you, the players on that team are 1,000 times more disappointed than we are.
Yep.
It's just a funky sport, man. Shit goes crazy sometimes, and it happens. And I'm disappointed. I'm heartbroken. I can't even listen to sports radio or read the sports page. Everyone I talk to just says, let's not talk about it because it's that painful. You know, it's like
Yeah, it is painful.
Yeah, the mojo just changed from
it just
the
changed.
regular season to that.
Yeah, I'm
playoffs.
not bad. Am I a
But
little
the
bad
last
about-
3 or 4 games of the regular season, they were in that melees
Yeah,
where
Joe,
they weren't back checking, weren't forechecking.
you can almost see they had almost like, I don't want to say that, but they blew their load almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
During the season, they weren't playing great at the end of the season. I mean, the goalies were winning the games at the end of the season. They were outplayed quite a bit at the
Yeah,
end.
they were just feeding Pasternak, trying to get him to 60 was more the
Yeah.
deal
And the
in those
goaltending
last
was
few games.
the goaltending. The last 10 or 15 games, the goalies were stealing games for them. So,
Okay, we have to play the blame game. I'm sorry if you don't want to play it, but it's the game we're playing. There has to be blame because this is somebody has to be blamed for this. We can't just go, oh, we'll be doop. We're too invested in this season to have this happen. Who's the number one person to blame for the Bruins losing in the first round? Joe, we'll start with you.
I don't think it's one person. I think it's more the defensive effort of the entire team just kind of evaporated.
Okay.
The whole team, and led by the decor, but the forwards weren't back checking or forechecking like they were earlier in the season either.
Russell.
I mean, I think Monty did them a disservice in the playoffs. I don't know what kind of advice he was getting from, Sweeney or general management or from his assistant coaches or from his captains, but he was screwing around too much. And, he changed, to Tim's point, he changed what he had been doing all year long, both in terms of the goalies and largely sticking to the lines. Right.
So he
and he
panicked.
changed it for the playoffs. And I don't understand why he changed it for the playoffs.
Panicked.
I don't know, but but I just don't know why he changed. Like, why go away from something that worked all year long?
Timmy.
the big thing to me is not alternating the goalies. And we discussed it before the series started. That was a big question mark. Some people said you have the Vezina Trophy winner, the best goalie of the league. Why don't you play that card every day? But obviously, that wasn't the way to go. So if I have to lay blame at anyone, it's for Monty and the goalie situation.
Yep.
And I think they just ran out of gas.
Yeah, to me, it's always the coach. In this case, you can't blame Sweeney or Neely. They pressed all the right, buttons. Though I would say that Hathaway was a real disappointment in the series. I never felt his presence at all. And I felt like, we were getting pushed around a little bit. And where was our tough guy that we had given up a first round draft pick for? He was nowhere to be found.
And Freddie was on the sideline too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Bertuzzi played great.
Oh my God, Bertuzzi was the best. Would you agree that Bertuzzi was the best Bruin?
Yeah.
That series? I felt like Taylor Hall disappeared those last couple of games, and I felt like he was playing so strong, and then
he was just floating around the neutral zone waiting for breakaways. Him and Krejci, both of them.
And Charlie
Both
Coyle,
of them played the softest game I could imagine.
Yeah, Charlie Coyle, I didn't think played a good series either.
He played good early. The first 3 games, I thought Charlie played well. Then he kind of, I don't know, disappeared.
Okay, of their free agents, let's go one by one. Orlov, stay or go?
Go.
I would love to see him stay, but I think he'll get a better offer somewhere.
He wants to go back to the Capitals, he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Bertuzzi, stay or go?
He can't afford him, but I'd love to see him stay.
See him stay.
They can afford him. They can work some numbers if they want.
Oh, they'll have to do some trades, I think.
Russ, stay or go?
Yeah, I mean, but it's a different conversation. I think if you keep Bertuzzi, you need to get rid of Hall.
Mm-hmm.
You still might say yes, but there's a cost to it.
Yeah.
And Hathaway's gone, right?
Yeah, I think Hathaway's gone.
Here's with Hathaway, though. If Hathaway goes and we get near the playoffs again next year, we're going to have to get another Hathaway type.
Yeah. Can't Trent Frederick play that Hathaway role a little bit,
I don't
though?
think, I don't think he wins enough fights.
I don't think he's big enough. Yeah.
Yeah, he could use 20 pounds more.
I think he's willing, but I just don't
Yeah.
think he's able.
Yeah.
How about Clifton?
I'm done with Clifton. I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the worst hockey games I've ever seen a guy play the other night.
Kept on passing it to the other players.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
There was some turnovers in our end that were just astounding.
And
Our
down.
defense just couldn't get it out of the zone. The whole series, even in the victories, they had their problems.
Hemmed in.
Does Rusty's Binky Krejci retire or come back?
Please go.
I guess he'll retire. That's my guess. Yeah.
Timmy?
I think he'll play another year.
Yeah. How about Bergie? Sounds like he's coming back.
I think he's coming back.
He's still got some gas in the tank. I hope he comes
Yeah,
back.
he played. He was a great player this year. I think they're going to run as much of it back. Look, if Bergie and Marchand, if those guys are back, and I could see Krejci coming back if Bergie comes
I
back,
think
and
a
they'll
big part
just
of
run it back.
I don't think Marshall was himself, even close to himself.
I think you're right. Yeah.
We've seen he's capable of clearly being the best guy on the ice at times, and we didn't see a sniff of that.
And I've read that Olmark may be traded
Really?
Really? I didn't know that.
to free up because he's going to be a pending free agent at some point to free up cap space that they'll just go with Swayman.
You know what? I don't think that's a bad idea because he played up way above his baseball card this year.
Yeah.
Way above it. So what do they say? Sell high, buy low, right?
Yeah, you would be
And
selling.
I have a lot of faith in Swayman too.
Also,
So-
you want to recoup some of those draft picks. I think they
Yeah.
they
yeah.
want to,
A team that's desperate for a goalie, I don't think that's a bad idea.
I would do it. Swayman's your goalie of the future. I think Allmark makes what, $6 million a year, Joe?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty hefty sum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.6. It may as well be 6.
How many
Yeah.
Vecina Trophy winners have been traded in the offseason?
Quite a
Probably
few.
not
You'd
that
be
many.
surprised. You'd be
Really?
surprised.
So after that, after winning the award,
Yes.
you really is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like Tim just said, sell high.
Well, it's always sad for one of our teams to get eliminated. It always takes me about 24 hours to process it and move on. And let's move on to the Boston Celtics. First of all,
Oh,
I
oof.
ask you boys, is the Boston Garden cursed?
No,
Feels like
hardly.
it. It's
Yeah.
not home
Hardly.
field.
The Bruins weren't great at home.
But they were a
They weren't great at
likable
home.
team. The Celtics
Yeah.
right now, and Russ has made this point over a number of times over the last couple of weeks. The Celtics have not been a likable team. They're a bunch of brats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
Well,
The
games
the
aren't fun to
Bruins were a
watch.
likable team.
The games aren't fun to
Yeah.
watch because they don't put in a consistent effort for 48 minutes.
Oh,
They do not.
Smart and Tatum just float for
But
2/3
it's
of their
Joe.
time.
It's not just them. It's
Oh,
it's
I
all
know
of them.
that.
I mean,
but they're supposed to be the leaders, and everyone.
Yeah, I know, but Brown is supposed to be a leader. Horford
Yep.
played like ass the other night. Malcolm Brogdon
Was the only one.
inexplicably throws the best
Yeah.
fast break assist of the year. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can look at every single one of those guys and say, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens tonight? Because if they lose tonight, they are going to lose this series.
And Embiid comes back tonight. He's playing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that even matters one way. I mean,
Yeah, it might hurt them.
they shot the lights
Yeah.
out. They played really well. This is a really good team. I don't know if this is your grandfather's Sixers, to be honest with you. They have a lot of really good players.
James Harden scoring 45. He was.
They
honest.
do, but the lack of defensive intensity at the beginning of a game one at home in a semifinal series, it was astounding. I mean, they let the Sixers get so comfortable and confident in that first half shooting the ball, it carried over through the whole second half.
Yeah. Timmy, lots of open shots they gave the Sixers, and this is
Oh.
supposed to be a playoff.
And you know what? That gets them caught up in this 3-point pissing match. They hit a 3. I think Celtics feel like they got to get out and hit a 3. They get away from their game of I think the Celtics.
We
should have
didn't.
done
I
what
mean,
they're
remember
going
though,
to do.
Timmy, like we didn't take threes in the first half. We scored
No.
40 points at the rim in the first half.
Yeah.
This was just fundamentally, they just didn't give a shit about playing defense in
No.
that first half the other night.
Nobody
They just didn't
did.
care. They
Yeah,
didn't give the
they were
effort.
shooting like 76%, but they were giving up 68% to the Sixers. And the Sixers just aren't that good an offensive team.
It was like a January game. The Celtics.
Mhm.
So you have to blame the coach. I know they did this last year, but he's currently the coach. So I'm not going to talk about last year and a year before. It's what's happening now. He doesn't light a fire under their ass at all. Zero. He's just one of the guys.
He's a young guy.
It's
How old is he? How old is he?
34?
34.
yeah, it's his first gig, first head coaching job, and that you're gonna have to deal with the growing pains of it.
He's their peer. You know, I mean, he's.
I know.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
there.
Well, look what I sent you guys this afternoon.
Yeah.
He's wrestling
Not good.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
What is this? Is this
Not what we
this
want.
high school?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Look,
he's probably
not,
forgot more basketball than I'll ever know. My hats off to Missoula that, but that's not being a coach.
No, that's just being one of the guys. And we
He
know
is,
how that
yeah.
works out.
he
He's going to learn that. Like he's going to learn after he gets the feedback of that. Like,
Yeah, but we don't
never
want him to
forget
learn
who
by
that
losing.
is. You know?
look, here's also the problem is this is two years in a row we have had a rookie coach.
Yeah, right.
Remember,
Great
Udoka
point,
never,
yeah.
and you've got a Ferrari in the freaking garage. And for 2 years in a row, we handed the keys to a rookie coach. Now, Udoka was more experienced on the front of an NBA bench, and he figured it out. But Udoka couldn't stop it last year, late in the
No.
year, and in the playoffs, we were losing games. The same problems. This guy can't stop it.
Now, do you think?
And
Sorry, Russ. Do you think they should have gone out and got a seasoned NBA?
in retrospect, absolutely, Tim.
Like-
in
like-
retrospect,
I
I
absolutely.
think that it happened so quickly they didn't have much.
Like, boys, this is the window. This is the window, right? This is
Yeah.
you know, we bet like almost
Look.
like the Sixers and Detroit. You know, we all remember back in the '80s. You know, like the
Right.
ascension that the teams would go through. Right? We're there. We've lost in the
Yeah.
final. We've lost in the semifinals. We've lost in the finals. This year, next year, this is the window. This is it.
Yeah,
And
we're in the window.
especially How loaded they put the bench this year. Should they have gotten a seasoned,
Yeah.
like 55-year-old guy to come in here?
Well, I think you can blame Danny Ainge for that because Ainge hired that kid to be
Will
the head
Hardy.
coach, and they
Yeah.
so all of a sudden, Brad's
but,
like, we
hey.
got these two great coaching prospects. He took one. Missoula's going to go
Yeah.
to somewhere else, and
We get second choice.
yeah.
But again, guys, Will Hardy would have been a rookie coach. He was a rookie coach.
No. My point is
Right.
that they didn't want to lose two
They
potential.
didn't want to lose two,
huge-
and I get
yeah.
all that. And look, the other thing is, remember, with the start that the Celtics got off to, there was no there was no firing Missoula once as interim coach. He started off so well, so they were kind of backed into the corner. And their start was legendary, was literally historical as a start.
I want to make one distinction between last year's team and this year's team. Last year's team was number one in defense.
But this year's team
Number
was
one
number
in the
three.
league in defense. Now,
Right. This year's team was number three, and they're not
Yeah.
playing defense
Yeah.
up to number three.
Yeah.
Look, I do blame Missoula. I don't think he has the answers. I don't know how he does not demand more from them defensively than they've showed over the last 5 games against the Hawks and the Sixers. Terrible.
and following, like if he does call a timeout, you don't see any additional effort put forth
I don't
after the
think
timeout either.
I don't think he has that same charisma that Udoka had. Udoka seemed to be like, one of those guys like a born leader. Like,
Well, he looked the part.
yeah, he looked the part,
Oh my God, yeah.
and he had the rep coming in. Like he had coached in the international competition, and he had like the cred sheet. You know what I mean? And some guys are just leaders, and they make you want to follow them into battle. they take you into overwhelming odds with the sense that you can really do what has to be accomplished. I don't think Missoula has that cachet or that. I don't know if he has that leadership swag. So very few people.
Yeah, I don't think he's developed it yet. I also would say that, and I think I said this to you guys in text the other day, our two leaders, our two best players are still not mature enough to lead a team to an NBA championship, right? And the veteran guys we have, Horford, Brogdon, you could put White into that category as well, are not the best players on the team, right?
Yeah.
And this is what happens when your two best players are still figuring out. They will get better. They at some point in time will be ready, but they're not right now.
How old are Brown and Tatum now?
26 and 25. I mean, if you look at historically when stars won their first title, that neither of them are there yet. Historically, it's another year or two.
But it would be a shame because I thought that Brad had put together a very, very good roster this year. An excellent roster.
He did. They're the most talented team in the NBA, guys. Yeah. This is not a talent thing.
1 through 10.
They're the most talented team in the NBA. Everyone says it.
Look, Udoka was not able to rein in Grant Williams, and Missoula's done even a worse job than that. And so Missoula, because he can't rein him in at all, just decided to bench Grant Williams. And it felt like now all of a sudden, a guy that was going to be in your rotation, who played well during the season, is on the outs, and now your bench is shorter.
I'm going to say this, Grant Williams was a big part of their success last year.
Right? Yes, he was, and even a greater six part.
He won one game all by himself, practically. Right?
Right, and then part during this, he could have been helpful in that first Sixers game, but he's gone. He's at the end of the bench now, and that's Missoula's fault.
He might be back tonight if Embiid's playing.
Yeah, they just mismanaged that asset. Remember at the trade deadline, I was saying, what about Jared Vanderbilt? What about trading Williams in a package for Vanderbilt? Do you see Jared Vanderbilt shutting Steph Curry down last night?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I mean, I don't know. That's frustrating with Missoula, the Williams thing. I don't think Rob Williams is playing enough. It's just not good. It's not a good combination right now. They're not responding to him.
And Al's starting to look a little old.
Yeah, although he does this all the time, though. He can go out and hit 8 threes tonight and everyone will say, "Oh, Al has the fountain of youth." I don't know. Like,
but we haven't seen that, Russ, in the Hawks series.
We saw a couple of good games out of him in Atlanta. None of these matchups have been great for him.
He's been relegated to going over and standing in the corner on offense. Yeah. That's not his choice. That's a coaching decision.
Yeah. All right. So what's going to happen tonight, Russell?
I mean, historically, teams who at home who lose the first game come back, bounce back.
Yeah.
Historically, the Celtics do better when their back's against the wall. If Embiid comes back, he's probably not going to be 100%, and arguably that might be better for the Celtics than anything. I would probably bet on them, but I don't believe in this team anymore. This team's not going to win the finals. I don't think this team is getting out of the series. I don't know about you guys.
Wow. Yeah, well, definitely not if they lose tonight. Timmy,
Celtics are favored by 8.5 tonight.
Yeah, that went up in the last hour or two because it was 7.5. It dropped. It's not a fait accompli that.
No, I feel a bad vibe. Boston sports all around now. I think the Sixers will take it tonight. Should I place a bet on the Sixers?
No, because
that didn't work the other night, Chief.
It didn't work. That's the first time that didn't work,
Timmy is so superstitious, everybody. He places bets on the other team. The idea that he
reverse jinx
uses his bets is a reverse jinx. And that just blew up in your. Well, actually, didn't blow up in your face. You made what you make on that game 7. You bet $100.
$280.
Yeah, all right. Well,
nice.
There's your consolation prize.
Well, I mean, there's one way to look at it. So I'll bet 100 on the Sixers tonight. Right? And
bet on them to cover. Don't take the money line. Just bet on them to cover. The Celtics can still win.
What is it? 450, I think.
I'm just gonna bet on them straight up win or loss.
What I think they're plus 450. That'd be a nice little cash. Yeah, you get nice cash.
Yeah, so I'll bet 100 and
See what happens. All right, Joseph, what do you think?
Well, I follow with that Russ there. Historically, teams that were home teams, get a little embarrassed and come back strong in the second game. But it doesn't bode well for the series either when you've already given up the home court advantage before you even started.
Okay, I don't think Embiid plays. I think it's bullshit.
You think that's just a threat?
Yeah, I think he just.
Why would you? I mean, if you were running the Sixers, wouldn't you basically wait until the Sixers lose a game before playing Embiid at this point in time?
You've already
Why
got
would you
the
play
split.
Embiid tonight?
You've already got the
Right.
split. I'd give him another 3 days to rest.
Because you have to take into consideration series past this too. If all of a sudden he's crumpling and he's done, that means he's done for future series.
I think the bookies know Embiid's not playing. That's why it's 8.5.
Yeah,
I think that's why it went back up.
Gigantic spread. That's huge.
Because he announced that he was going to play. He said, "I'm back." So it went from like 10.5 to 7.5, and now it's creeping back up. I don't think he plays the whole series. I've said that. I've told you. I watched that press conference with Doc Rivers. He said the guy's in rough shape. His knee is always. This is when he got injured. He said it's the back of the knee. He said those injuries are always bad. It's already swollen up. He said he's going to be.
If Embiid's not playing, the Celtics absolutely win the series.
I'm not.
That didn't work out the first game, did it?
I don't care.
I agree with Tim. If Embiid doesn't play at all, the Celtics will win the series. Yeah.
Harden's not going to keep that up. He had the fucking game of his life. You know what I mean? He's not that guy anymore. He's not.
I don't know. Harden used to do that every night.
Used to, but
he doesn't have that. He's too old. He's not bringing that to the table every night, Joe.
If Embiid's not in there, I have no question the Celtics win.
Well, hopefully they'll defend him on more of those 3-pointers and make him drive because he's very stiff now. He can hardly move, Harden. He's just playing from 3-point line to 3-point line now.
He's not doing that again.
Well, we hope. All right, boys, we go to the most exciting team in all of sports right now. It's Connor's Wong's world, and we're just living in it. The Boston Red Sox, if the season ended today and don't know, we did, they would be in the wild card.
What a great trade that Mookie Betts trade was. That was fabulous.
It sure was. And Jared Duran looks like lots of MVP chants last night for when Jared Duran went up.
Russell was leading the chant.
He sure was.
No.
They could hear from Canton.
I will give you, he looks better this time around, but let's wait. I say give this time, let it simmer.
You're just placating us.
Russell is in Canton. A little activity in Canton today, Russell, huh?
Oh, a lot of activity in Canton over the last few months.
I don't want to change the
what happened?
A lot of business going. There was a murder. It'll be a major
that police
movie.
It'll be a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
It'll be a Netflix movie. If what is being speculated really happened, this will be a Netflix movie.
Yes.
Okay.
We won't that's a whole other show.
Look, we didn't even have Jared Duran in any scorecard for this season. He was a lot. You would have traded him for a bag of used balls, right? Literally, Russ and Jared.
I would have traded him with a bag of used balls.
Yes, for nothing.
For a bag of hockey pucks.
Jared Duran is the guy that we thought he was going to be right now.
No, he's not. He's a guy who's had 3.5 good weeks in the major leagues versus a year and a half of crappy weeks.
Well, I will say this, Russ. He looks better in the field. He looks better at the plate.
Great.
I think he shouldn't have come up those other 2 or 3 times.
All right.
He should have been down there.
Why dying on the vine on this, Russ? Why can't you just come aboard and say the guy's?
I actually
saw too much of him last year.
If Jared Duran turns into a really legitimate Major League Baseball player, then our investment in this team it will go up. That's great. So I'm rooting for it. I'm just not in on it yet. Got to see a lot more.
Timmy, has his new attitude, has that swayed you now from his poor attitude last year?
Let's see. No.
Oh my God, you guys are tough.
My hatred for Jared. I feel like Scotty's hatred for who?
Daniel Nava,
That's
Linux.
the equivalent of my hatred.
We
for
can-
John.
We've got a lot of them. But look, I moved off the David Krejci hate. I came to the other side.
Yeah, and if Jaron Duran is in late June, July, still playing like high level Major League Baseball, doesn't have to be hitting 400, but like he's an everyday contributor using his speed, using his tools, then I will change my mind. But he's had 3 good weeks, if that, 2.5.
I mean, the
Good
rules,
Lord.
the new rules certainly suit him.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
right, look,
They favor fast guys.
Yeah, which we're sorely lacking.
look, I mean, this team needed someone like this, especially an infusion, especially when you lost Duvall, who was was playing remarkable. It was a great acquisition. Now all of a sudden, you have a guy like Connor Wong, who's developed. I'm telling you, I go to these games. This kid, he's got fantastic hands for a batter. Quick
Let's
wrist.
see how he does against right-handers. He's been
We're talking about
platooned.
that was the home run he hit yesterday.
You fall in and out of love like a teenager.
Like nobody, like a teenage girl. He's
Connor
just
Wong-
unbelievable.
Connor
He's
Wong-
reading Judy Blume books at night is what he's doing.
Wait,
Yeah.
who said
The love of the week. Who's Scotty's love of the week?
His Tiger Beat
And then
magazine.
he's on social
Right.
media bashing
David
the old
Cassidy,
one.
Leaf
Right?
Garrett.
On social media bashing the old one. He's
Leaf Garrett.
on Instagram.
Leaf
I
Garrett.
can't believe that they did this to me. I hate their guts. Never date this girl.
Well, I
Bad.
think
It's
Sean
really bad.
Cassidy's just the best.
Sign him 10 years, 300 million.
You think we can do that? Look, the fact is the guy is an athlete. And
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he is.
No denying that.
I'll give you that.
He is. Look, I have actually higher expectations and higher hopes for Wong long term than I do Duran, because he's an athletic kid who's playing catcher. Like if you can be an athlete and play catcher and hit and run and throw guys out, those guys are hugely valuable.
Yeah.
Hugely.
That's the modern catcher.
That's the
is
Buster
modern.
Posies, right? I mean, that's what
right.
these guys are. You look, yeah, he's not a big kid, which is not the traditional catcher, but look, you got to give Heim some credit. Heim saw something in this kid that he thought had value enough to have him included in the Mookie Betts deal. Would you give Heim something on that?
Yeah. I mean, he's panning out how they hoped he would. Give him credit there for sure.
Yeah, and defensively in a league now where it's all about stolen bases, if you can believe it, he's thrown out 50% of the runners.
Yeah.
I mean, right now with McGuire and Wong, statistically, the Boston Red Sox have the best hitting catchers in baseball. There you go. That's an upgrade from Christian Vasquez.
How long will that last, Scotty?
What's that?
That's not going to last.
Well, I don't know. McGuire is a hit first type catcher.
all McGuire's done since he's come here is hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Look, they solidified the position. I am not worried. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not worried about
That's
the
good
catching
news.
position right now.
I'm much more worried about shortstop. Geez, to get a major league players that
Well, the middle of that infield, both shortstop and second base is, it's rough, between the defense and the offense.
Well, you can understand that they had to have a placeholder until Story came back.
Story gets back, right?
So they weren't going to invest too deeply in that. But Joe, I agree with you. The shortstop position, what are we going to wait 2 years or 3 years for
3
Mayer to
years
come?
for
And what are we going to
Mayer.
do until then? Have Christian Arroyo at short?
Bobby Dahlback, Christian Arroyo, Kike Hernandez. I mean,
Yu Chang.
yeah,
Isn't there some
Tapia.
stud?
Everyone's had a chance at it.
I just would imagine that there's a incredibly good defensive shortstop, probably of Dominican descent,
Julio Iglesias.
sitting out there that can't hit his way out of a paper bag.
Well, Yu Chang was that, and
Yeah.
he got hurt,
good
right?
defense, right?
And,
Yeah.
Chang
had
played
some
very
pop.
well.
He had power. He couldn't hit for
Yeah.
average, but has some power.
Yeah, they
Right.
could have Chang, but the problem is you can't have a guy like Chang and then have Cassis, who statistically now is the worst batter in the major leagues.
Wow.
I love
Yeah.
Cases. I still think he's going to be a great player, but you need to send him down. You're not helping.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The only hope you have for him, Scotty, is that he pulls a Pedroia in his rookie year. Pedroia was horrible for the
Yeah.
first 2 months and ended up being rookie of the year. But I just don't see it in Cases right now. I just don't see it. He'll have a flash of power every once in a while, but I didn't see it last year either. I'm sure it's there, but we haven't seen it yet.
I haven't watched a lot, guys. I'm being honest here. Is it just that is he being too selective at the plate?
He's a little bit of that, but I think he's just like Scotty says, should be sent down. Jaron Duran had to be sent down 3 or 4 times. Connor Wong had to be sent down 3 or 4 times. They learned, and now after a while, they're developing into major league players.
Connor Wong
Cassis.
had to be sent down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cassis is probably in the same category. Needs a little more seasoning to be for a regular
But
major
the
league.
problem is Justin Turner cannot play first base. Joe and I saw him. He's terrible. He literally,
Really?
yeah. I mean, he makes
Borba looked a lot better at it.
yeah, sure. He cannot play the position. So that's another mistake there. That's
With Bobby Dahl back there, if he gets sent.
I
down.
think you're going to end up seeing Bobby Dahl back on the team. I think that's probably in
You
easy.
trade him for Cassis and let Cassis develop some more down in Worcester.
Yeah.
They can both
Shortstop.
hit 120.
So Hyman made an under the radar deal getting Mondesi. Who did we give up to get Mondesi from Kansas City? Was that the Josh Taylor deal for the lefty? He got this Mondesi. Mondesi is a shortstop. He's supposed to be very good defensively.
Yeah, but he's on the IR, isn't he?
But I assume I have not heard anything recently about when he's coming back. Maybe that's the kind of guy that they're waiting for to put him in the lineup. And then and he's a fast guy. He's one of the fastest guys in the major leagues. So maybe that's what he's waiting for. But the fact is that Heim has some pressure on him because as the weeks go on, if we can stay competitive, guys, are we buyers?
A little early.
Yeah, I mean, if they're in the hunt, sure.
You don't think it's a little early to be having that discussion?
And I don't, and like I
No.
told you before, I don't think they got much to sell. There's no sense in being sellers at the deadline.
Well, Kenley
Maybe try to
Jansen,
pick up a bargain or two.
Kenley Jansen would get you a considerable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, isn't Heim's in this to save his job. Heim's not going to sell, unless they're way out of it. If they're within spitting distance, he's going to be buying.
Yeah. He has to, right?
Oh,
Right.
I wouldn't be. I don't think this team is any threat to win the World Series this year. Not even a remote threat. So why would you ever give away any of your assets at this point when they're building?
well, yeah. Well, they might give away like Scotty said, Jansen or Tucker or Duval, who are on 1-year deals. You may as well, if you're gonna, and they're near the end of their career anyways.
Well, that
maybe
would be
those guys
selling.
will get you something.
But that would be being a seller.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Buyer, you might tweak stuff. Why not? Look,
Why would you give up any assets that could potentially, be good in the next 2 or 3 years when I wonder what the Vegas odds are right now on the Red Sox winning the World Series? They're probably
you give away some prospects that might be end up in the Rule 5 draft and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Stuff that you want to move from after their draft. Yoshida has been as good as we could have imagined.
Better than
Been
advertised.
great.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's a player, right? Can we just say all the scouts who said, that was a terrible sign, they're full of shit,
Seems like it. You can only go on what you see.
Yeah.
right? I mean, 12-game hitting streak. Guy barrels pretty much almost every ball. And he's a serviceable left fielder. Not very good because he's so slow. He's 20% slow. The slowest, one of the slowest guys basically in the major leagues.
Yeah, yeah, he's not a great fielder, but he does have great hand-eye coordination. He doesn't strike out. He gets the bat on the ball, so he puts it in play every time, and that's a plus.
OBP 400. And just
Mhm.
before, until we leave, because we got to go to the draft, this has been a tough week for Russell Stevens with the Red Sox. Chris Sale had a good start. Chris Sale, is this all coming? I mean,
We badmouthed him
Mhm.
through the whole game, Russ, and he just kept
And
coming
he
up
pitched
with good
well.
innings.
So my question for you, Russell, is if Chris Sale actually pitched well, we're going to say for 10 more starts, can we trade him?
I would,
No,
for
could we?
sure.
Would a team take him?
Yeah,
Not
of
at that
course. If he
contract.
pitches well for, oh, I thought that. Remember, Joe, that contract is short years left. You
Is
get a
it just
team
next
that,
year?
Just next year.
yeah, you get a team that wants to be, is willing to take a risk to go over the top and bring in the missing piece.
You mean a
He's the
sucker?
perfect guy to bring in. Yeah, he's the perfect guy to bring in. You're not signing him because, otherwise you're inheriting $30 million a year for 5 years for somebody.
I
And
feel
he's
like
falling apart every August and September of his
What was that
career,
guy
so
on-
good time to go.
the liar on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
He's a
Yes.
missing piece. Yeah, yeah.
He's fine.
Can you imagine if we could
Yeah.
get rid of him? I just want to, Boston Red Sox in 2025 only have 4 contracts on the books. Are we players, and I'll finish, are we players for Ohtani after this
Yes.
season?
Yes.
If we're not,
You know how I feel about these things, guys. I would have
50
offered
million a
Aaron
year.
Judge. I would have offered Aaron Judge $50 million a year for 3 years and said,
make the Yankees pay
come,
55.
right, come to Boston for a sabbatical. In Ohtani, if you want to move back to the West Coast, end your career out there, but just come to Boston for 3 years and win a World Series and with adoring fans.
This team is missing. Oh my God, this guy's up at the plate. I can't turn the channel. We've always had some guys here like that.
We've got Raphael. I mean, we've got Devers is like that, but
Yeah.
That's it.
for me. I think
But
he's amazing.
not for me either. I mean, we always had somebody like that. Even if we were out of the running, we had some stars.
Manny and Poppy were larger than life. They were big.
You put Ohtani in this town, he's the number 1 athlete in this city.
Yeah, when he's
For
not
sure.
when he's not pitching, he's hitting home runs for you.
Yeah, he shoots up, and the Red Sox, the value of that franchise goes up considerably too. Is it worth it? 10 years, $60 million a year.
Yes.
Sure, it's not my money, and there's no salary cap.
You're paying for 2 players, right? You're paying for a slugger and you're paying for a pitcher.
But also you're just paying for, when we walked out of on that Sunday, we walked out of that Angels game, there were hundreds of people lined up waiting for the bus for him to walk onto a bus. Hundreds of people, like he was the Beatles. So it would be huge as far as other marketing things the Red Sox can do. Go out and get it. It would be one of the most exciting moments, right? As far as acquisitions in our lifetime to get a guy like him.
It has looked to me over the last couple of years that they've been setting up that's going to be their big acquisition. They've been trimming their belt for the last year or two so that they can do that.
Oh my God, that would be fun times. And all of a sudden people would be, you have season tickets to the Red Sox? Wow, okay, we'd be back.
You remember
All right.
those? You remember those days?
Yeah, we do. We go.
So, Scotty, you're in a plane. The plane's going down. There's 2 parachutes, and you're on the plane with Connor Wong and Shohei Ohtani. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think
Connor's small, he'd hang on to him.
tell Connor he had a good run. All right, we go to the Patriots. Look, we never know anything about the draft. It was supposed to be the shittiest draft of all the history of NFL football last year, and I thought the Patriots ended up with great contributors.
Would you say that this is the most conventional draft Bill Belichick has ever had?
Good word.
Great question.
Yeah, good word, Tim.
Yeah, really. I think what we talked about, he filled all the needs. First of all, Russ, you talked about you wanted as many offensive linemen as they could fit in a bus. And
Yep.
they spent day 3 literally doing what you asked.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you
mean,
get
exactly.
great guys in the 5th round too, 6th round.
They just kept on taking big fat guys.
350-pound guys. Take
Yeah.
it. 6'5",
So
330, 350.
we
It was
talked
kind
about
of an interesting strategy, though. They took special teamers in the 3rd and 4th round.
no,
Mhm.
Malfi. I've been watching Malfi. He's exactly what I wanted. He's sideline to sideline. He's the
Yeah.
essential new type of
Well, he's
linebacker.
Duggar or Phillips. He's going to be a safety.
No, I know. I don't.
I
think
bet they make him into a linebacker. They put 15 pounds on him and making him
Yeah.
into a linebacker.
They're
I think
They're
you're
going to
right,
have to
Scotty.
get some weight on, but he looks like a gunner. He looks like he's going to be the next gunner.
I watched video of him. What's that, Timmy?
He's only 216 though, right? I mean,
Yeah, right now, but he can gain. I'm obviously the guy's. He's a young kid. They can put weight on him.
Belichick talked about that they thought he could gain weight. They mentioned very specifically, they said he was a linebacker when they drafted him.
Yes,
Yeah.
They drafted him as a linebacker.
He's the guy. Yeah, he goes from sideline to sideline.
That would be great.
he just
be
explodes
great.
through those holes. Perfect guy to blitz, but also perfect guy to be falling around the guys of the Josh Allens of the world, mirroring them on so they don't run around too much.
Yes, he can match speed with the Mahomes and the Josh Allens of the world. He's got the speed.
Yeah.
Maybe not the size, but he's got the speed.
Christian Gonzalez, we nailed it on this show. We said it's going to probably end up best player available. Christian Gonzalez slides to 17.
unbelievable.
Actually, slides past 14 because they obviously traded down to get a 4th round pick. If you look at the guy, he could be a huge star.
Mike, his hips remind me of Mike Haynes.
Yeah,
He's so smooth as butter. I mean,
yeah.
just silky smooth.
And Joe, he's got that height you want.
Yeah, and whenever the Patriots have been good, they've had a standout corner in Mike Haynes and Ty Law and Stephon Gilmore. Whenever they've been at the top, they've had that big what the kid from the Jets, whenever they've been Super Bowl caliber, Revis, they've had a top-notch corner.
And fast as hell. I mean, the other thing they did was they drafted a lot of fast guys. I mean, so many guys under 4.44, Joe.
Yeah, it was like a Raiders draft.
It was like, I think they drafted 4 guys who ran sub 4.40s.
Yeah,
crazy.
Like even 6th and 7th round guys were fast.
Right.
Like that kid from Jackson State, speed.
Kid from Jackson State, the kid from Liberty.
Yep.
The receiver, the final 2 picks, the defensive backs, both. The guy named Speed runs a sub 4.4.
Yeah.
The kid, right, the 2nd round pick, he just looks like he's so scary that
big cat.
He is a very angry dude, and I like that. He's got that body.
Second round pick.
Yeah.
I feel like he has the body type of Hightower.
He's bigger. He's got 20
bigger.
pounds.
He's 285. 285. I mean, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
He might lose a little weight playing for the Patriots if he had to. I don't know. I mean, he looks like he's going to be an inside-outside guy, right, Joe?
I think so. He could play in the 3-4 or the 4-3. He could be a defensive end in the 3-4, or he can be inside on a 4-3. He could be everywhere you can mix and match him with Barmore, all sorts of stunts. That way you can push the middle. That's how you're going to get after Allen and Aaron Rodgers and Tua in that division. You got to go up the middle.
So, Timmy, did we address the offense by doing exactly what Russ wanted, working on the offensive line?
Yeah. I mean, Mac needs all the help he can get. His numbers show that he is horrible under pressure. Let's give him some time and see if he can show us something else.
Yeah, we can't just have James Ferentz playing all the time. I mean, when you have James Ferentz and guys like that, and we've had that the last few years, had a lot of those guys plugging and play, even the Connor McDermott's and stuff. You got to develop these guys, and they got an Andrews, they got another center, they got what Joe wanted. Russ got what he wanted. Joe's wanted, since David Andrews has been in the league, an undersized center.
And
wanted to
this
replace-
Andrews is 50 pounds bigger.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And we know these guys, he's the center of the future, and those guys last 10 years.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I watched Andrews highlights. I mean, they only show you the good stuff in their highlights, but some dominating stuff I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, who even knew?
Yeah,
Troy
the only
was
thing,
taller?
Scott, I would like to have seen them draft a tight end somewhere along the line. It's supposed to be a good draft in tight ends. And, you know, I just sort of feel like that would have been smart to get a young tight end who could step in for one or both of these guys next year. It's a developmental pick. Tight ends don't play well as rookies. I mean,
Russ,
hardly any of them ever do.
I
Right.
did read an article where the one of the Patriots executives was saying they were very disappointed. They had their eyes, high hopes to grab some of those tight ends, but they all scooped up.
They all
Well,
went
that's
right
their
in front of
fault.
them. It
They
seemed.
could have traded. They could have traded
They
ahead.
could have easily traded up. They had plenty of picks to trade up.
Yeah, and future picks. You know, if they wanted, they
Yeah.
could give up a future
Right.
fourth if they thought they wanted to put this guy in the system. Okay, it's all about Booty all the time. Booty for the wide receiver Booty from LSU. This is just the ultimate sixth round flyer, right?
Boom or
This is
bust.
literally the definition of that, right?
Yeah, you know, he was a first round. He was going to be a first round draft pick easily after his freshman year, and
Five-star
had all the
recruit out of high
traits and
school.
everything, but between some off-field stuff, and then this broken ankle sounds like it may have lingered even through the combine and dropped him way down the board.
So,
So,
Russ, you're saying he would have been a first round pick?
oh,
Oh yeah, a couple
after
years
his
ago.
first year
geez.
at LSU, he got to, I think, 100 catches faster than any receiver in
SEC.
LSU history. You know, but he got jammed up on some stuff off the field. He broke his ankle. He got on the wrong side of Brian Kelly, and he just didn't have a good last year.
Now, is it a physical thing or a mental thing, you think?
Both.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
it must have been a major ankle. You don't hear many people having career-ending ankle injuries.
He is
Well, I don't
the
think it's
poster
career-ending,
child for a guy that needs a change of scenery.
Yeah, you hope so.
Look,
I
those
think it was a
wide,
great pick.
those wide receivers
pick.
are erratic personalities to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're all
Right.
divas and drama queens.
yeah.
Yep.
So look, sixth round pick. Do you guys even remember who the sixth round picks were last
No.
year for the Patriots?
Well,
No.
there was that guy,
Michael
Julian
Onwenu.
Edelman.
Right, and Michael Onwenu, I think, was a sixth rounder
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, a few years ago, but it was
but
guys like-
no.
And
then
then
this
that
kid- the
fella,
kid
Tom
from,
Brady, he's sixth
The
round.
kid from Liberty, Demetrius Douglas, I guess, is evidently like has the little tiny slot receiver thing. You know, really like high end athleticism
yeah.
for that. That would be great to see. That would be great to see somebody like that make the team.
To be a Tyreek Hill type, little
Yeah.
skitterbug.
I mean, he's 170 pounds, 175 pounds. So
I think Tyreek was a fifth or sixth round pick.
was
by the
he?
way.
Interesting. And
Okay.
he also flies. By the way, he's sub 4.4 as well. Right.
Okay, based on the draft and who we drafted, give me, and I'll ask this question a few times, a surprise cut.
Oh wow.
Not who just got drafted, but a surprise cut on the current roster that because of who we've acquired probably goes.
I'll go first. David Andrews.
Ooh, that'd be a big surprise.
Wow. That's a good one. Yeah.
I would maybe one of the safeties, Adrian Phillips could get cut.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Right.
been like one of the best players on the field for us, hasn't he?
I know, but you know, it's like if this kid comes in and he's playing a hybrid role, and you've got Duggar and you've got Peppers and you've got now the other kid back going to be playing safety too, Mills. I don't know. One of those safeties is
Yeah.
going to get cut probably.
I
Peppers
would-
just
I would-
signed a new contract too.
I'd try to trade him. I think he's got value.
Well, he's a tough
Yeah.
kid. He hurt his ribs early in the season last year, and then played NFL football every game.
I think
Either cracked or broken ribs. God
I-
bless him.
I think he has a lot of value. I mean, if you're
He
thinking
could.
rid of him, I'm looking. I don't know. You know, I don't know how this goes. You know, he's like a
Right.
second round pick, a third round pick if you trade him. I don't know what a salary.
Who's this?
Uh,
Phillips? Maybe. He's a little older. He's a
How
little
about
older.
one of the wide receiver room, like Kendrick
Yeah, that
Bourne?
could be Bourne. He could
Is that
get
what you
cut
have,
if both
Joe?
of those
He
guys
makes a
make the
good bit of
team.
good piece of money
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, if both those guys, if both the rookies make the team, which would be uncommon, but like if
Yes.
Booty and the other guy
Yeah,
makes it,
The two little guys on the back end there in the 6th or 7th round are both slot guys, and that would be Bourne's position.
I think who goes, and it hopefully it's a trade, but I think it'll probably Trent Brown.
I mean, they don't have any tackles though, Scott. They didn't draft a tackle.
Yeah.
I think they
Well,
want.
it isn't one of the guards that's
Yeah, they're gonna
supposed to be
they're gonna try to
moving
convert
him.
these guys.
They did
Yeah.
re-sign.
maybe,
They
yeah.
signed that Riley Reef. They re-signed McDermott, and they re-signed another schlub tackle.
Yeah, the guy from Denver.
Yeah.
Um,
So they got bodies, whether they're good bodies or not. But Trent Brown he doesn't make a ton of money, like 5-6 million now.
he's just so inconsistent as far as
Oh yeah, he's a moody
Showing-
bastard.
showing up and stuff. No, I'm just potential cut, but I will say the Patriots made it interesting. Like you said, Timmy, they got guys that were on the board that looked like they were talented.
We've heard of them. We know that we've heard of the schools they come from.
And Matt Groh looks
Liberty.
like he's an adult in the room.
Yeah.
Matt Groh seems like he knows what he's doing, and they have a plan now. So it could be exciting. Things have kind of switching a little bit. All of a sudden, there's excitement about the Red Sox and Patriots, and now we're a little dampened on the obviously the Bruins and the Celtics.
We're the new Jets. The most exciting day of the year is the draft.
Not yet. You wait. And then I just can't wait for when the playoff tickets are printed for the Red Sox. So that's our show for tonight. Want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great, happy night.
Do you think the Red Sox, if they were like